What's up, pilgrims? I'm your Daily Rev, and this is your Daily Dev. Today, I want to talk about this idea of calculating the cost of things. Growing up, I didn't always calculate the full cost of purchases that I made or even decisions I made. I think about my first car. Now, for many of us, when we bought our first car, the thing that we thought we had to save up was just that initial purchase price of the car. And so we did all we could. We begged, borrowed, and hopefully didn't steal, but maybe we did, to put that money together to be able to buy our first car. I don't know about you, but I didn't factor in all the other costs. The cost of shuttling your friends to different locations, the cost of petrol, a full tank of petrol. And even if you did calculate that because you knew that you would need to put fuel in your car, obviously, maybe you didn't understand MOT and tax and then the regular checkups that your car needs, the keeping it finely tuned, the maintenance. And then maybe you didn't also think about the additional costs that can occur when you're in an accident or when you bump the bumper, when you scratch the side, and you might need someone to do a little quick bit of work. And then your insurance, a whole nother cost that maybe you didn't think about prior to actually making this purchase. And so with your first car, you learn that there are a lot of costs associated with that car. And even if that was the case, and maybe you did start to learn, sometimes taking those principles into other areas of life are a little bit more difficult, or maybe we don't make such a concerted effort to calculate all the factors that are inside. And I think this is really interesting when we think about our Christian walk and our Christian journey, because Jesus actually talks about calculating the cost of being his disciple and calculating the cost of following him. It's interesting because in today's day and age, it might not be so cool to talk about the cost of our decisions, the weightiness of our decisions, right? We think about the consequences of them. But before we get into those predicaments, do we ever take the time to sit back and reflect on actually the cost of these decisions, right? And so Jesus tells, when he's preaching back in the day, he tells those who are listening that, look, you need to calculate the cost of following me, right? There's a cost associated with following me. And actually, the cost that he puts there, it's there in the text. I'll link it up down below, right in the captions below. You'll see that he says that to follow him, you have to renounce everything. That's basically what it says there. Renounce everything. What does this idea of renouncing mean? Well, I looked up in dictionary. You can do a quick search on Google. Wikipedia will tell you. Renouncing is the formal declaration of abandonment of your rights, of abandonment of your privileges, an abandonment of all the things that you could rightfully claim as your own. But to follow Jesus, actually to renounce those things. And why is that important? Well, this sense of entitlement that follows us around, this is basically what he's saying. Look, you think you're entitled to some things just on the virtue of being around, being a human. You think you're entitled to something, maybe even because you think you're going to follow me, you think you're going to be entitled to the good stuff in life, right? But actually, you need to give up your entitlement. You need to renounce it. That is the cost of being my disciple. You have to renounce all those things that you have the right to, all those things that you think should be yours, all the good things, all the things that you think you have a right to. Following Jesus, the cost of following Jesus is to renounce all those things, because the more things you hold on to, whether they be material things or ideas or beliefs, about what you are entitled to, is the more things that own you. And in our walk with Jesus, he's going to ask us often and implore us and prod us to do things and to say things and to speak up for things that may not make us popular. But nevertheless, the point still stands. That is part of the cost of being his disciple. And so I really want us to think about this as we embark on this pilgrimage together. It's great that you've decided to be part of this journey over the next 6 weeks. I hope you've chosen to do that. But in doing so, I want you to consider, all right, what are the things I'm going to have to renounce if I'm going to be serious about this time with Jesus over the next 6 weeks? Am I going to have to renounce my right to watching Netflix every minute that I have because actually I want to reflect on some of these challenges? Or am I going to have to spend a little bit more time just contemplating my life? Am I going to have to give up some of those other things that I would usually do because in this next 6 weeks I would like to put God back on the agenda. I'd like to reconnect with him because that's what this pilgrimage is all about. So before you go into this with us, which I hope you decide to, I wanted to encourage you to calculate the cost first because no one likes running out of petrol on the motorway. I'm your Daily Rev and that was your Daily Dev.